So you're thinking of moving to Oklahoma City. My name is Kinsley and I'm a local realtor here in Oklahoma City, Edmond, and those surrounding areas. Whether you're thinking about moving in 10 days or 10 months, I would love to be able to connect with you and potentially help you on your move. Please feel free to reach out to me. You can find all the ways to do that in the description box below. Now, as I'm making this video, I know that I have made pros and cons videos before. Some of the things I'm going to talk about are probably going to be repeats, and that's okay because I think it's still helpful for you to be able to hear them. Some of the things might be newer things, and in reality, I just like making these updated videos because with the new year, with new things going on, I think that there's new things to share. And so I want to give you 5 pros and 5 cons of moving to and living in Oklahoma City. Number 1 is the affordable cost of living. This is definitely one of the main reasons that I hear why people are drawn to Oklahoma, because they're able to get so much more bang for their buck. They're able to sell houses in other states, make money off of them, move here and get, again, just maybe bigger houses for less money, nicer houses for less money. And this definitely is one of those reasons that is drawing a lot of people to Oklahoma City specifically. Number 2 is a diverse job market. I have worked with some people that have come here and have quickly been able to find jobs, quickly been able to relocate. Of course, that's not the case for everybody, but I will say as a whole, Oklahoma City tends to have, I would say, a pretty diverse job market. You have some pretty big companies here. You have Paycom is a pretty big one. You have Sonic headquarters. You have Love's headquarters. Oklahoma also is a hub for oil and gas, and so that has a lot of jobs. You also have jobs within healthcare, within education, within different industries like that I think, again, as a whole offers a good wide range of jobs and economic opportunity for people moving to Oklahoma City. Number 3, I would say, is vibrant arts and culture scenes. There are really a lot of unique and cute little areas of Oklahoma City. You have the Wheeler District, you have the Paseo District, you have Midtown, again, lots of different areas that kind of each has its own unique feel and vibe to it, if you will. Of course, there's museums and art festivals, music festivals, things that come to the city that I think really makes it a vibrant place to get to experience when you live here. Number 4 is, I would say, a friendly and welcoming community. I have some people who comment and say that Okies are not very kind, they're very not welcoming, but I would say from my experience, from people that I talk to, most people find that the people here are really friendly, are really welcoming and accepting. And I think that overall that is a big pro to Oklahoma. To me, Oklahoma is not the South, but you do kind of have some of that Southern hospitality that comes with a lot of the people. Number 5, I would say, is just the outdoor activities or things to do that maybe are outside or are not. Oklahoma City really does have a lot to offer. You have Bricktown, which is that downtown area. I love going to Bricktown. You have the Myriad Gardens, which are downtown. You have the Oklahoma City Thunder, which is an NBA team here in Oklahoma City. You have the zoo. You have the Science Museum. You have Remington Park. You have Frontier City, which is kind of not Six Flags, but it's through that corporation, kind of a smaller amusement park. There's also a water park that goes with it. And so you have those things, but you also have lots of outdoor parks, and you have lakes. You have Lake Hefner. So I think within the city, there really is a lot to do, things to do outside, things to do inside. I think there's a good range of shopping and restaurants. And then if you don't have it here in Oklahoma City, Dallas is about 3 hours away. Now, I don't just love driving to Dallas. That's definitely not my favorite thing to do, but it is kind of nice being close enough to it to where if you want to go to IKEA or different things like that, it's only about 3 hours away. I think those pros really make Oklahoma City a great option for a lot of people. Now I want to talk about some of the cons, because I realize that Oklahoma City is not perfect. There are things to it that are not great. And so I kind of want to pinpoint some of those. Number 1, like any pros and cons video for Oklahoma, one of the cons has to be the severe weather, tornadoes. Oklahoma is in Tornado Alley. You do have the threat for tornadoes, wind and hail damage, and that is just the reality of it. I will say some of the things that kind of help this. There are a lot of houses with storm shelters. If not, there are companies that install them. The weathermen are really good, I think, about tracking it, letting you know where there's rotations, when you need to get in your storm shelter. There are sirens spread throughout the town. So when there does become a severe threat, the sirens go off to warn you about the weather. So there are things in place to help you, to help warn you. But again, it is a threat, and that can come with a lot of property damage. It can come with some safety risks. And so it's definitely something that you need to know about. Now, if you watch movies like Twisters, the new one that came out, they show it as a severe tornado like every single day. that, in my experience of living here, has not been the case. So I don't think it's as extreme as some movies and some things portray, but it is still a threat that I think that you should know about. Number two, I would say, is just a limited public transportation. Oklahoma City as a whole does have public transportation, but for some cities where, there's train systems and buses and subways and lots of different ways to get around town, Oklahoma City is not built that way. And honestly, I don't know that it necessarily needs to be, but for some people, when they heavily rely on that public transportation in their cities, moving here, it's definitely not the same. Number three is hot summers. This is something that I've talked about a lot recently because this last summer was really hot, felt very humid. Again, is in those high 90s, over hundreds for days and weeks on end, and that just kind of gets old after a while. For some people, they like the heat. They would rather it be hotter than colder, and that's good. And honestly, you kind of get used to it. You just get used to doing things inside. You find ways to do things in the morning or the evenings. But as a whole, the summers tend to be pretty hot. And so I think that's something that you should know about. If you are kind of planning a move in advance and you're watching this video and you know that you don't want to move for, again, maybe 10 months, I would say try to come into the summer. Come in July or August to try to really experience some of those hot days. I will say it can be windy, which can be its own con, but sometimes that wind is nice when it's hot outside because it, of course, kind of helps cool you off. And then next on my list, this could be a pro for you, this could be a con for you. I mentioned it in a lot of my videos because it is a big reality of living in Oklahoma, is Oklahoma as a whole, Oklahoma City, tends to have pretty conservative political views. Now, I would say Oklahoma City as a whole is probably less of this than some of the more rural areas, but still, if you look at some of the latest election results, Oklahoma as a whole tends to be a pretty red state. And so again, for some people, this is a pro. For some people, this is a con. That's why I kind of wanted to put it at the end of this video and just make sure that you are aware either way. Most people know a lot of these things I mentioned. They're not necessarily new ideas, but I think it's sometimes helpful just to hear them. And as you are looking at moving to Oklahoma, seeing if it's maybe the place for you, I think these things are helpful to know. So I hope that this video was helpful. Thank you so much for watching to the end. Again, if you are thinking about making that move, please feel free to reach out to me. I'd love to be able to connect with you, whether it's answering questions or, again, potentially helping start that process of what it would mean for you to move here. Please feel free to reach out to me. Again, thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you in my next one.